Has your doctor ever looked you in the eyes and told you there's nothing more they can do? That the medicine that's supposed to heal you is actually destroying another part of your body? That happened to me just last year, and it changed everything I thought I knew about health and healing. I'm Albert Hsu. For over 5 decades, I taught nutrition at our local community college, authored 3 books on wellness, and even ran health retreats in my retirement. Everyone in my community saw me as the picture of health, until I wasn't. If you're watching this, you might be facing kidney problems yourself, or perhaps you're worried about a loved one. You've probably heard all the conventional wisdom: restrict protein, avoid salt, take your medications. But what if some of what we've been told is incomplete or even misleading? Today, I'm going to share 6 unexpected truths I discovered on my journey back from the brink of kidney failure. Lessons that not only saved my kidneys, but transformed my understanding of healing altogether. Why am I sharing this now? Because chronic kidney disease affects over 37 million Americans, and most don't even know they have it until it's nearly too late, just like me. The information I'm about to share could be the difference between dialysis and recovery for someone watching right now. Stay with me until the end, because in the final lesson, I'll reveal the precise protocol that took my kidney function from 18% to 62% in just under 4 months, something my nephrologist still can't fully explain. This isn't just my story. It could be your breakthrough too. Let me share the first lesson I learned, one that completely contradicted everything I thought I knew. When my doctor first diagnosed me with stage 4 kidney disease, I was terrified. I'd seen my own father deteriorate on dialysis for years before passing. In my mind, kidney disease only moved in one direction, downward. Each test would show worse numbers than before, leading inevitably to dialysis or transplant. That's what every medical website, every pamphlet in the doctor's office, and even my specialists implied. But here's the surprising reality I discovered. Kidney function can improve. The nephrons, those tiny filtering units in your kidneys, they can heal and regenerate under the right conditions. I remember sitting in Dr. Sharma's office last February, shivering despite the warmth of the room. The walls were lined with diplomas, creating this fortress of medical authority. He slid my lab results across his mahogany desk, the numbers highlighted in alarming yellow. "Albert," he said, his voice gentle but firm, "your GFR is at 18%. We need to prepare you for dialysis within the next few months." I could smell the antiseptic in the air, feel the weight of his words pressing down on my chest. My hands trembled as I looked at those numbers, trying to make sense of how I, the health expert in my community, had missed the signs for so long. But it wasn't just my story. I later met Gerald at the Kidney Support Group, a former marathon runner who had reversed his kidney damage through specific dietary interventions. The doctors had told him dialysis was inevitable. Yet there he was, 3 years later, with improving numbers and still running half marathons at 72. So I ask you, have you been told that kidney decline is inevitable? That once function is lost, it can't return? If so, I invite you to question that assumption, just as I had to. But this realization was just the beginning. What I learned next shocked me even more, and it's what I want to share with you in the next section. The second truth I discovered turned everything I thought I knew about kidney-friendly diets upside down. When you're diagnosed with kidney disease, the standard advice comes at you fast. Reduce protein, cut phosphorus, limit potassium, avoid sodium. I dutifully followed every restriction on the lengthy handout the dietitian gave me. My refrigerator became a fortress against forbidden foods. I measured portions with the precision of a scientist, turning meals into medicinal obligations rather than pleasures. But here's what shocked me. This one-size-fits-all approach was actually making some people worse, not better. I discovered this one afternoon while making my carefully restricted lunch. I was slicing a small portion of chicken breast, the maximum 3 ounces allowed, when my phone rang. It was my old colleague David from the nutrition department. "Al," he said, his voice crackling with excitement, "have you read Dr. Walser's research on very low-protein diets supplemented with essential amino acids, or the studies on kidney-specific alkaline foods?" I hadn't, and that conversation changed everything. "The body doesn't need to restrict all proteins," David explained. "It needs the right proteins at the right times, while creating the proper pH environment for healing." Over the next 3 hours, as the afternoon sun traveled across my kitchen, David opened my eyes to research I'd somehow missed, despite my background. We talked about the emerging evidence that certain fruits, particularly those high in specific antioxidants, could create the ideal environment for kidney cell regeneration. What followed was weeks of deep research. I spent days at the university library, reconnecting with colleagues in the medical community and experimenting carefully with my own diet, always monitoring my labs to see the effects. I realized that my loyal adherence to the standard restrictions was actually creating nutritional deficiencies that were hampering my body's natural healing abilities. I wasn't giving my kidneys what they needed to repair themselves. The turning point came when I incorporated one specific fruit into my daily routine, but more on that in a moment. How about you? Are you following generalized dietary advice without seeing improvements? Have you considered that what your kidneys might need is not just restriction, but specific nutritional support for repair? Before I tell you about the remarkable fruit that changed everything, let me share another crucial discovery that most kidney patients are never told. The third revelation came from an unexpected direction, challenging my scientific mindset completely. Before my diagnosis, I would have dismissed any suggestion of a connection between emotional states and organ function as pseudo-scientific nonsense. As a nutrition educator, I dealt with measurable facts: proteins, minerals, vitamins, things you could quantify and study. Emotions belong to a different department entirely. That preconception was shattered during my second month of treatment. My lab values had plateaued despite my careful adherence to the diet and medication regimen. Frustration built inside me like pressure in a sealed container. I snapped at my son on the phone, argued with the pharmacy technician about a prescription, and spent nights staring at the ceiling, consumed by fear. Then came a chance encounter that changed everything. At a community garden event, one of the few social activities I still enjoyed, I met Eleanor, an 83-year-old woman with a luminous quality about her. When she mentioned she had lived with kidney disease for over 2 decades without dialysis, I nearly dropped my trowel. "What's your secret?" I asked, trying to sound casual while my heart raced. Eleanor smiled. "I garden every day, I meditate every morning, and I never ever miss my gratitude practice." I must have looked skeptical because she chuckled and said, "Albert, your kidneys process not just blood but emotions too. Chinese medicine has known this for 3,000 years. Western medicine is finally catching up." Later that week, I found research on the relationship between chronic stress, cortisol levels, and kidney function. Studies showing how persistent negative emotional states create inflammation throughout the body, including the kidneys. Research demonstrating how mindfulness practices actually reduced proteinuria in some patients. I remember sitting in my study, afternoon light filtering through the windows, as I read a study about heart rate variability and kidney function. The evidence was there in black and white. Our emotional state directly impacts our physical healing, so I began a daily practice of meditation and gratitude journaling. I started each morning with 15 minutes of silence, focusing on healing imagery. I ended each day writing down 3 moments of beauty or connection I'd experienced. Within 3 weeks, my next set of labs showed subtle improvements, small but measurable changes in the right direction. I wonder now, have you considered how your emotional state might be affecting your kidney health? Could the stress of dealing with this condition actually be worsening it? But the connection between mind and body was just one piece of the puzzle. The next lesson taught me that timing could be just as important as what I was doing. My fourth discovery was about when to eat, not just what to eat, and it challenged everything I thought I knew about supporting kidney health. After decades in nutrition education, I was well versed in the importance of balanced meals and regular eating patterns. Never skip breakfast, I'd told countless students. Keep your blood sugar stable with small, frequent meals was my mantra. When kidney disease struck, I maintained these patterns, carefully distributing my restricted foods throughout the day. 5 small meals, timed like clockwork, had been my approach for managing both my diabetes and kidney disease. Then came the day my grandson Michael, a biomedical researcher, visited from Boston. As we sat on my porch swing after dinner, I complained about my frustratingly slow progress. "Grandpa," he said, setting down his tea, "have you heard about circadian nephrology or time-restricted eating for kidney repair?" I hadn't. Michael explained emerging research suggesting that giving our organs, including kidneys, regular periods of rest from processing nutrients could enhance cellular repair mechanisms. Studies showed that restricting eating to an 8-10-hour window each day activated autophagy, the body's cellular cleaning system, and reduced inflammatory markers. "But what about blood sugar stability?" I asked, thinking about my diabetes. "That's the fascinating part," Michael replied. Recent studies are showing that properly timed eating windows can actually improve insulin sensitivity in many people. That conversation led me down another research rabbit hole. I discovered studies about the kidney's own biological clock and how aligning eating with natural circadian rhythms could optimize filtration and repair functions. With my doctor's cautious approval, I began consolidating my meals into an eating window between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. No more late-night snacks or early morning breakfast immediately upon waking. I gave my kidneys a full 15 hours of rest from food processing each night. The adjustment was challenging at first. I'd wake up hungry and go to bed slightly unsatisfied. But within 2 weeks, my body adapted. And remarkably, my next round of labs showed the biggest improvement yet. My GFR had increased by 4 points. Even my endocrinologist was surprised to see that my blood sugar control had improved rather than worsened with this approach. I later met Marcus, a 65-year-old former accountant at our kidney support group who had experienced similar benefits. "It's like giving your kidneys a vacation every night," he explained with a smile. "They come back to work refreshed and more efficient." So I ask you, have you considered when you eat as a factor in your kidney health? Could your organs benefit from regular periods of rest from processing? At this point in my journey, I was seeing gradual improvements, but nothing dramatic. That would come from the fifth lesson, and it required me to face one of my deepest fears. The fifth lesson I learned was perhaps the most frightening to implement, as it required questioning an area I had always accepted without hesitation: my medication regimen. Like most kidney patients, I had accumulated quite a collection of prescription bottles on my bathroom counter. Blood pressure medications, phosphate binders, vitamin D supplements, and more. Every month brought new prescriptions as my doctors tried to manage my declining kidney function. I had always been the perfect patient. I took every pill exactly as prescribed, never missing a dose. I believed completely in the wisdom of modern medicine and the importance of pharmaceutical intervention. Yet despite my compliance, my kidney function continued to decline slowly, and the side effects were becoming increasingly difficult to manage. The dizziness from my blood pressure medications made me afraid to drive. The phosphate binders caused digestive issues that affected my quality of life. My moment of truth came during a particularly vulnerable evening. I was sitting at my kitchen table, sorting my pills into the weekly organizer, when a wave of emotion hit me. Was this really going to be the rest of my life? Increasing medications with increasing side effects, all while watching my kidney function decline anyway? That night, I did something I'd never done before. I made a complete list of every medication I was taking, including the original reason it was prescribed, the side effects I was experiencing, and any potential interactions with other medications or nutrients. The next day, I scheduled an appointment with Dr. Patel, a nephrologist known for his integrative approach. I'll never forget sitting in his office, nervous but determined, with my medication list in hand. "Dr. Patel," I said, my voice steadier than I felt, "I want to evaluate each of these medications. Are they all still necessary? Are there natural alternatives for any of them? Could some be contributing to rather than helping my kidney issues?" Instead of dismissing me as I half expected, he leaned forward with interest. "Albert, that's exactly the kind of conversation more patients should initiate." Over the next hour, we had the most enlightening discussion of my medical journey. Dr. Patel explained how some medications, while necessary, could have unintended consequences for kidney function. He pointed out 2 in my regimen that were known to occasionally cause kidney damage over time, a fact my regular doctor had never mentioned. Together, we developed a plan to carefully adjust my medication regimen under close supervision. Some medications were reduced in dosage, one was eliminated entirely. For 2 others, we found more kidney-friendly alternatives. This wasn't about rejecting conventional medicine, far from it. It was about finding the optimal balance of pharmaceutical support while minimizing harm. Dr. Patel emphasized that this approach required careful monitoring and would not be appropriate for everyone. The results were revealing. Within 6 weeks, as my medication regimen was optimized, my kidney function improved more significantly than it had with any dietary change alone, and many of the side effects that had been diminishing my quality of life began to subside. I later met Josephine, a retired nurse who had gone through a similar medication review process. "We often assume more medicine means better care," she told me over coffee one day, "but sometimes less is more, especially when it comes to kidney health." Have you reviewed your medications recently? Have you asked your doctor specifically about their effects on kidney function? It's a conversation that changed everything for me. But the most surprising discovery, the one that truly saved my kidneys, was still to come. And it involves the remarkable fruit I mentioned earlier. Now I come to the sixth and most transformative lesson of my journey, the discovery that ultimately saved my kidneys from failure. After months of research, dietary experiments, emotional work, and medication adjustments, I was seeing improvements, but my GFR still hovered around 23%, better than my initial 18%, but not enough to keep me off dialysis long-term. I needed something more powerful, more direct. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. My neighbor Thomas, who had emigrated from Malaysia years ago, noticed my declining health during our weekly neighborhood walks. One day, he brought over a strange-looking fruit, about the size of an apple, with a thick, leathery rind and translucent white segments inside. "Mangosteen," he said simply, placing it on my kitchen counter. In my country, we call it the queen of fruits. My grandfather had kidney problems. This was his medicine. I was skeptical but intrigued. That evening, I tasted the mangosteen, sweet, tangy, and unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Then I began researching. What I discovered astonished me. Mangosteen contains powerful compounds called xanthones, particularly alpha-mangostin and gamma-mangostin, with remarkable anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Scientific studies, mainly from Asian medical journals, documented its specific benefits for kidney health. Research from Thailand showed that these compounds helped reduce creatinine levels and improved overall kidney function in animal studies. Most surprisingly, I found a small clinical trial from Singapore showing that mangosteen extract helped reduce proteinuria, excess protein in urine, a key marker of kidney damage, by an average of 27% in participants with early-stage kidney disease. Could this exotic fruit be the missing piece in my healing puzzle? I consulted with Dr. Patel before proceeding. While cautious, he acknowledged the promising research and saw no contraindications with my adjusted medication regimen. "The science is preliminary," he said, "but the safety profile looks good. Let's monitor your labs closely if you want to try it." I began incorporating mangosteen into my daily routine, consuming the fresh fruit when available, and taking a high-quality extract when it wasn't. I started with small amounts and gradually increased to the dosage used in the research studies. The pivotal moment came 3 months later during my quarterly nephrology appointment. Dr. Sharma, my original nephrologist, stared at my lab results in disbelief. "Albert," he said, removing his glasses, "your GFR has improved to 47%. Protein in your urine is down by over 60%. What have you been doing?" When I explained my comprehensive approach, the dietary changes, emotional work, time-restricted eating, medication optimization, and finally, the mangosteen, he shook his head in amazement. "I've never seen this kind of improvement in someone your age with stage 4 kidney disease," he admitted. "We need to document this." By the 4-month mark, my GFR had climbed to 62%, moving me from stage 4 to stage 2 kidney disease. The dialysis machine that had loomed in my future was now a distant threat rather than an imminent reality. I'm not suggesting that mangosteen is a miracle cure, or that it alone was responsible for my improvement. It was the final piece of a comprehensive approach, but its addition to my regimen coincided with the most dramatic improvements in my kidney function. If you found this information valuable, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Type mangosteen if you're interested in learning more about how to incorporate this remarkable fruit into your own healing journey. And please subscribe to ensure you don't miss my upcoming videos on specific kidney healing protocols. As I reflect on this unexpected journey from kidney failure to recovery, I want to acknowledge that there's nuance here that shouldn't be overlooked. While these 6 lessons transform my health, every person's body is different. What worked dramatically for me might work differently for you. That's why medical supervision is essential when making any changes to your kidney health regimen. When I think about where I started, terrified in that doctor's office, certain that dialysis was my future, compared to where I am today, with kidney function that my nephrologist describes as remarkably improved, I'm filled with both gratitude and purpose. Gratitude for the knowledge that came my way, often from unexpected sources, and purpose in sharing it with others who might benefit. The practical protocol I developed combined all 6 elements: believing in the possibility of kidney regeneration, customizing my nutrition beyond standard restrictions, addressing the emotional components of healing, implementing time-restricted eating, optimizing my medication with medical supervision, and incorporating mangosteen as a targeted natural therapy. But perhaps the deeper lesson is this: healing often requires us to expand beyond conventional wisdom while not rejecting it entirely. It asks us to be both scientific and open-minded, disciplined and flexible, to trust experts while also trusting our own research and bodily wisdom. If you're facing kidney disease, I hope my story inspires you to become an active participant in your healing journey, to question, research, and collaborate with healthcare providers who respect your intelligence and agency, to consider not just the physical aspects of kidney health, but the emotional and spiritual dimensions as well. Please share this video with anyone struggling with kidney disease. Subscribe to this channel for more in-depth discussions of each element I've touched on today. And comment below with any questions. I read everyone and use them to guide future content. Remember, kidney disease doesn't have to be a one-way street toward dialysis. For many of us, there can be another path, one that leads back toward health and vitality, even in our later years. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Until next time, this is Albert Hsu, wishing you health, healing, and hope.